Hello, Assalamu alaikum. In this video, we'll extensively cover the static data members and static member functions in C++. We know that the classes have the data members and the member functions, but these data members and the member functions can be static. So here comes the question why we use the static data members and static member functions. Let's understand this with an example. Let's take an example of a cricket match. We have a cricket match in the ground and there are 11 participants of one team and the 2 batsmen of the other team. So both teams have a same display which is showing the score and the overs of the cricket match. We can see that the same display copy is being shown to all the participants of the match. So all the participants are sharing the same screen. Okay, where is the over count and the score count of all the participants of the teams. Similarly, we can relate that example here. We have a class, okay, we have a class my name and its objects are A1 and A2. So these two objects are basically the participants, and the display which was showing the overs and the match overs and the score rate of the batsmen in the cricket match example, here is the counter. So the counter is basically the information which is being shared by the objects of the class. So we can say that when we declare a data member as static, only one copy of the data is being maintained for all the objects of the class. Now let us see that how the static data members can be used in the class. You can be used in C++. In this example, we can see that we have a class my class and it has the two variables, two data members, simple and counter. One is simple variable and the other is static data member. And we have the two member functions, increment and print, and these are the normal member functions. None of them is static member function. So we have declared the data member in the class scope, but we'll define it in the file scope. You can see that we can define it by using the scope resolution operator, and initially the data member always stores the value 0 in it, but we can change it according to our requirement. And then first we have the definition of data member, a static data member, and then we have the definition of normal member function outside the class. In the increment function, we have the increment of counter and simple variable, and in the print function, we have printed the value of counter on the screen. And in the main body, we have called the both functions print and the A1 by using the dot operator. So we have the two objects, then both objects will call the increment and the print function one by one. In the A1 operator, you can see that we have the A1 dot increment. In this case, the counter initially stores the value 0, but when the increment function is being called here, then there will be an increment in the counter and it becomes 1, and the simple will also increase its value by 1. As initially there is no value stored in the simple, so there must be any garbage value. So when after calling the increment function, there will be an increment of 1 in that garbage value. And then we have the print function which will print the value of counter on the screen. Then in the next class object, we have the A2, and A2 calls the increment function. When A2 calls the increment function, it's the second time that the increment function is being called, so the 1 is being increased in the already stored value and it becomes 1, and the print will have the new garbage plus 1 value. And in the A2 dot print will print the value of the counter on the screen. So its display must be the counter is 1 for all these lines, and for the next these lines execution will show the counter is 2. So when the second object calls the increment and print, then in that case the output will be counter is 2, and for the and when the A1 object calls the increment and print function, its output will be counter is 1. Counter is 1. So let's see its output. So this is the output, counter is 1. This is when the A1 operator calls, when the A1 object calls the increment and print function, and this is the output of the second object. Let's see how the member function, static member function, works in the program. So static member functions can only access static data members, means it can only access the data member which has the keyword static, and it can also access the member functions which has the keyword static and any other function from outside the class. So these are the three conditions in which the static member function can be. So these are the three conditions in which the static member function can be accessed. Okay. So let's understand this with an example. In this example, we have a static data member and a static member function. We have a counter data member and the print member function. So we have one static data member and one member function. The program is the same. We have already discussed earlier. We have the two variables and we have the two functions, and the one is static member function. As we have already discussed that the static member function can only be accessed by the static data member or the static member function or any other function outside the class. So we can see that the static void print can here in this program can only be accessed by static int count, as this is the only data member which has the keyword static. This is the definition of static data member and then the static member function. In the main body, we can see that the static member functions can be called by the dot operator and can also be called by the class name. So you can see that in the A1 object, for the A1 object, the increment function is being called by dot operator and the print function is being called by class name. Similarly, for the A2 object, the increment function is being called by dot operator and the function print function is being called by class name. So you can see that the static member functions can be called by dot operator and the class name. So this is the static member function in C++. This should be here.